So these days, I am asking, now what? Constantly. And in a certain tone that blends outrage, fear, and embarrassment. Now what? We hear him speaking his inauguration speech. He tells us that he's giving the country back to the people, but you've seen his cabinet he's assembling, right? Lots of white guys, lots of folks who don't know what they're doing. Now what? When Congressman John Lewis questioned the legitimacy of Trump's presidency, rightly reminding people that the 2016 election was indeed deeply tainted, and not just by Russian intervention on Trump's behalf, but also the false impression that the FBI gave about Clinton just days before the vote. When this happened, Trump demonstrated once again his terrible instinct to humiliate via a Twitter rant, saying most of Atlanta is in horrible shape of falling apart, and describing Georgia's U.S. Representative John Lewis, a civil rights icon, as all talk, talk, talk. No action or results. Now what? Oxford Dictionary editors were inspired by Trump in their choice of the word of the year for 2016. It is post-truth. And it goes on and on. It goes on and on. Now what? Now what? Now what? No wonder the fear, the anxiety, the depression, the horror, the bafflement, the grief, the anger. Millions of protesters yesterday in Washington, D.C., and all across the country and all across the world, on all 7 continents. All 7 continents. In what amounted to a counter-inauguration. I didn't even know those existed. A counter-inauguration. Not my president. We want a leader, not a creepy tweeter. But in contrast to the outrage, fear, and embarrassment of now what, there is a different way of asking this question. You can ask it like this: now what? And the tone is calm. It is clean. It is full of resolve. It's about what happens next. It is about how we respond. And my answer to this different kind of now what is simple. Simply this: to be deeply and authentically ourselves. To be Unitarian Universalist. Our religious identity is an answer. We are an answer for this time. And history helps us to know what this means. Our living tradition, with all its twists and transformations, ultimately began, and we must never forget this, with a rabbi 2,000 years ago who taught that everybody has inherent worth and dignity, and not just some. There has always been a system of haves and have-nots in this world. There's always been bullies of one form or another sustaining those systems, but Jesus said no to bullies. Jesus refused to go along. He resisted. He believed everyone is welcome, everyone belongs. To Rome, the main bully of his time, this vision was punishable by death, and so the great rabbi was crucified. Pontius Pilate thought it would have been enough to crush the spiritual rebels that followed Jesus, but it was not to be so. The love of Rabbi Jesus was too powerful to die. Rabbi Jesus died, but his spirit was resurrected in the lives of his followers, and they felt this love as a restlessness within them that wouldn't stop, in the way that theologian Belden Lane points out. It wouldn't stop until it turns all woundedness into health, all deformity into beauty, and all embarrassment into laughter. Justin Martyr, an early Christian who lived around 70 years after Jesus' death, gives us a picture of how this love changed people back then. He said, "We who formerly valued above all things the acquisition of wealth and possession, now bring what we have into a common stock and communicate to everyone in need. We who hated and destroyed one another and on account of their different manners would not live with men of a different tribe. Now, since the coming of Christ, live familiarly with them and pray for our enemies." That is love at work, incessantly restless. Religion was not so much a matter of what you believed as what you did. To stand up to bullies and say no. To care for the hungry, the thirsty, the stranger, the poor, the sick. To create communities of love and justice. And that is what we got to do today. Just feel the restlessness of a spirit that is larger than ourselves. A spirit we can feel so powerfully when we come together, especially in worship. A spirit people felt while marching, millions marching, people feeling the unity and feeling the resolve. Call that spirit divine and feel okay about it, whatever the skeptical reservations might be. Because let me tell you, heart, soul, body healing and spiritual beauty and liberating laughter are about as divine as it can get. That's divine. That is our answer to the times. What now? Just be ourselves. Just be you.